Whether or not it's going to be a lot of fireworks, I don't know. But already, Rakan is going to be banned away. We saw Hoyt do completely disgusting things on that champion, and Gen G going to follow up with the Galio being taken off the board from Chongo.
And Cassiopeia, we should expect to be banned away on the red side. But blue side, it's really kind of up in the air. Ezreal being taken away.
It's a bit strange. Okay, of course, Ruler, a very strong Ezreal player, but I'm expecting him to play something more like the Kai'Sa this game. This Lucian is going to hit the dust as well.
And so there's a lot of champions still remaining. Aatrox, Urgot, Camille. These are all very powerful champions that are still on the table. Cassiopeia.
Yes, definitely way too many to ban. The Akali there as well. I mean, Roach does like to play it. Cuvée looked brilliant in the Kesper Cup on the champion, and we have to remember that Gen G had a brilliant run to get to the final of Kesper Cup and then fell short against Griffin, but you can't really blame them for that. The LCK, however, has not been a good experience for them as the Urgot has been banned away. Cassiopeia then needs to be taken off the board, and now Jin Air can go towards the Aatrox. They can go towards the Akali if they would like to, but Gen G will be able to get some key picks for themselves.
Aatrox is on the table. Victor as well.
I don't know whether you'd be first picking the Victor. I think last time we saw the Victor first picked it felt like a mistake.
Yeah, you'd have to certainly be able to flex it. Akali picked up. Talked about this before. When Galio is off the table, Akali is something that you have to respect, and that could mean that Lissandra could come out for Gen G, but right now, in Aurelia being hovered.
Being hovered for the moment, maybe memeing against Fly just a little bit there, but the Aatrox is going to be locked in. Lissandra available.
There it is.
That's going to be picked away from Chongo. So far, the champions that Chongo has played in the LCK, the list is Galio, Lissandra, and now he can't play either of them. So we're going to get a new look from Chongo here, especially for the LCK, as Malrong has the Xin Zhao available if you'd like to go there. His Hail of Blades play has been impressive so far, and this game is going to hinge around him and what Malrong can actually get done in the early game to see whether Jin Air can get enough of a lead to power through the late game that is Gen G.
Victor being selected as it has the ability to do extremely well against Lissandra and Aatrox.
But also, we've been seeing a lot of this, especially against Ruler, is just playing an awesome dude towards the bottom side of the map. The Victor bot lane can just nullify it entirely.
Yep. Tahm Kench now being hovered. Might end up being locked in. Extremely good against the Lissandra and the Aatrox.
Yeah, I like it. Single target lockdown of the Frozen Tomb. No problem for the Catfish. And of course, I mean, it's an anti-fun button.
Yep.
And we've set this this draft up to let people know that this could be a long one. And the Kai'Sa locked in, so made that prediction. Does feel exactly like what Gen G want to be doing. They want to be getting behind Ruler, put him on a hyper carry, get him to clean up. Could be difficult though, here against Chaos Storms and Akali's running around. Xin Zhao, of course, going to be banned away against Malrong.
Xin Zhao, a little bit surprising for me to see banned away. The only synergy that it would have thus far with the Jin Air Green Wing picks would be the Victor, but only if that would be top lane Victor. Otherwise, it would be a little bit difficult to organize ganks for. And when you have the Lissandra and you still have the ability to choose more champions that can peel, you almost want to kind of invite the Xin Zhao in. So a little bit surprising for me to see that there. Gragas now being banned away.
Bit of a flex ban, but also it was a phenomenal pick for life. We saw it in the highlight reel, able to get down towards the bottom side of the map and really wreak havoc. And was the reason why Gen G were able to pick up their first game win, even though they couldn't win the series against the Afrika Freaks. Olaf going to be banned away here as well. So Gen G trying to get rid of some of these tempo junglers that can really get in your face early, which certainly fits the MO. Alistair to be taken away. So Life getting a lot of respect here from Jin Air.
They need some form of an engaged jungler. I mean, Camille is still on the table. I'm not quite sure if that's something that they would want to go for.
Certainly don't want to see Peanut back on the Camille. His Camille was not so great.
Kha'Zix
Last time we saw it.
Also available, but against Victor and Akali, that can be a little bit of a slippery slope.
True. Braum going to be locked in just for some coverage, and they're going to at least keep flexing the Aatrox that I expect Roach to be playing, but they could keep flexing it into the jungle theoretically for Peanut, as we look for their final pick to most likely be Peanut's champion down there, but Jin Air need to round theirs out now. Only 7 seconds to go, still making up their mind as to what they want to play It's likely that the bottom lane is already here as the Aurelia is being considered. That is a lot of power already, and now the jungler needs to come in. And then Jin Air have this crazy Bruiser Brawler comp all ready to go. A lot of assassination potential. Ruler is going to have a rough time, and he played out of his mind against Afrika. I want to say that because the rest of his team, not necessarily all that impressive, but Ruler's ability to get out of a lot of the sticky situations he was in was very, very impressive, as that's a throwback. The Trundle,
It's a Trundle
being locked in for Malra.
I think means that they are anticipating a Sejuani.
That would be the call.
I think that that is what Gen G's answer was maybe intended to be.
Zach is still there for
Zach's
Peanut,
still
though.
there
I was
too.
going to mention that one. And Peanut, of course, one of our junglers that has been able to get things done in the early game on the Zach, but that was back when he was on King Zone. Now he's on Gen G, a much more slow-moving beast.
Yep. And so it looks like it will be Victor ADC.
Should be.
Yeah, okay. All right, there we go. Victor ADC. Down there in the bottom lane, Akali and Aurelia, respectively, in mid and top. So both of... Well, Aurelia actually does beat Aatrox. However, blue Aurelia, red Aatrox, it can be a little bit difficult if Aurelia can't get lane priority. Then Zach has a lot more gank paths available to him.
He has
from
all
the
the
red
gank
side.
paths,
Yeah. And Trundle does not want to be pathing up to the top side of the map. He only has the Wolves in the Gromp camp. Doesn't need to prioritize Herald super early on, especially because Lissandra should not ever give up lane priority early on against the Akali. So a little bit of a mismatch with top jungle duo synergy and what we could expect to see.
Yeah, but not necessarily a lot of tanks on the side of Gen G either, so the Subjugate not going to get the most value. Of course, Zach will be building a lot of tankiness, and he will be able to strip a lot of that himself. However, it's not necessarily feeling like the perfect Trundle game up against a magnitude of tanks. Having a look over the other side, some interesting drafts. I actually quite like both of them, and a lot of power is here for Gen G because that Lissandra into the Akali matchup is one that Lissandra's always liked more than other champions going into the Akali. The Aatrox has spent most of his time on the ban list, and the Kai'Sa for Ruler feels like exactly the champion that you'd want to put that man on.
We're about to head into the game. Game number 1, Jin Air versus Gen G.
Wow, Gen G fans, I don't know, there's just way more of them than I'd expect. I don't know. I guess they've held on to a whole bunch of them since their Worlds victory. It feels oh so long ago now. As our Ruler's not going to be able to find that last auto attack, unfortunately.
Oh,
and we're going to get a pause. Here we are.
Here we go.
This is how we start Jin Air versus Gen G, guys.
Yeah.
We're going to have a pause because the game needed to be paused, right? For this to go long. Oh, dear.
Oh, man.
dear.
Oh, zoom out. I can't get enough.
Yep.
I hope the
Just
observer can now keep it going.
absorb the sepia mode,
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
As looks to be a little bit of an issue with
Let's get a
Peanut.
remake.
Not entirely sure, as we're going to... let's check out the stats, guys. Gold completely even here at 4 minutes in.
Yeah, there are no kills.
Yeah, it's a bit of a lag issue. Getting our producer in our ear, giving us all of that information. So Peanut just making sure that his computer works. I have a feeling that we will be back into this one relatively quickly. It's often the audio issues that can have us sitting around for hours, but hasn't happened this time. So hopefully Peanut can get that that PC sorted.
I got a question for you.
What's
do
that?
Do you ever think that players would ever try to tactical pause to tilt?
Ooh.
Because, I mean, he can say that the computer's lagging, and then the refs come over and they're like, we can't find anything. But it doesn't change that.
I feel like,
you know,
if
weird.
that's a thing that happened, Peanut really didn't do it right. Because I mean,
Oh,
there's
no,
no,
not right now.
Yeah, I
I'm
know,
just saying the
I know.
possibility of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think so.
Let's
I
next
like to think. I'm just using my naivety here. I just assume that no one's
Like
going
the
to be
benefit of the
vindictive
doubt?
like that. You know? Yeah.
all is fair in love and war. okay?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
And all's fair in a pause. Anything goes. Feel like we can talk about Goosebumps again, LS.
What was your favorite one? Did you like Slappy?
Oh man, there were just so many of them, you know, and I felt like there was not very much continuity between any of the Goosebumps books, but there was one particular Choose Your Own Adventure Goosebumps that I read like maybe 8 times or something like that when I was growing up. I just can't remember the name. I think there was like a blob, like a slimy blob, and that was like supposed to be the scary thing in it. But that's all I got. I mean, I'm an old man, and I'm looking back about 25 years for that particular bit of information. So that's a toughie.
Did you like the shows?
The Goosebumps shows? Yeah. No, I didn't watch them as much. Definitely watched a lot of the Animorph shows, but not a lot of the Goosebumps shows.
Makes sense.
Sort of missed out on it. And also, when I was a kid of that age, I was also not. I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers because it was too scary.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
That was my upbringing. I learned about Power Rangers afterwards, and I was like, damn, this is a show that I would have enjoyed if I had been able to watch it when I was the relevant age.
What was the name of the show? It would come on, I think Nickelodeon. Is it like
Are Real Monsters?
No, they would huddle around a campfire and it would tell scary stories.
Oh,
what was that?
What happened? That happened to a friend of mine. One. What is it? Oh my God! Yes.
And it sort of had the Goosebumps theme, but it was really cool.
Yeah, but it was. Is that the one that was like only 5 minutes long?
No. They were like 15,
really quick?
and it would show 2 of them.
Oh, okay. Because
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Night, I think. Someone tweet at us.
Yeah, tweet at us and let us know. And as soon as we find out, we'll let you guys know as well, because you've been on this frustrating journey of forgetting things with us this whole time. Speaking of journeys, we are into this game finally. Malrong's just cleaning out his jungle on the Trundle. And I feel like we've really taken a step back in time with this jungle matchup. Zac versus Trundle, the thing that used to happen a lot. Hasn't been doing it so much recently. It's all about the Camille's and stuff these days, but you get Jin Air and Gen G, and we're back to the tanks.
Everything old is new again.
Exactly. Gentleman's agreement. We're going to play the boring junglers.
In top lane, Aurelia can definitely take it to Aatrox.
Well, she's doing so right now.
Yep. Does have to be a little bit careful, but remember, we talked about early on, Zac later on into this lane can prove to be a nightmare for Aurelia. And I really like that ward. They get perfect intel. Everyone's playing with map packs now. See the pings go down on the mini-map. That is most likely Malrong alerting his team, look, Zac can be here, here, or here. Can't be anywhere else. Ping's coming in one more time in case his teammates didn't hear him.
Yep.
So
and also, like, the information of the fact that that camp is gone is so much information for where Peanut is going to be. So I know there are a few pings there, but I think it's likely that Jin Air have a lot more information than we would have otherwise expected. That being said, not going to be double scuttling this particular Zac this time around, and he's going to have a very safe first trip through his jungle. Malrong not in a great position to punish him, as Roach doesn't quite find the third tap of the Q, and therefore Linderung's going to be absolutely fine here in this lane. A couple of charges still remain on that Corrupting Potion, and he's got a handy biscuit just waiting.
And Malrong's route is actually a little bit bizarre to me. I'm having trouble. I wasn't looking at the minimap exactly, so I didn't know mid and bottom's lane state. But the fact that he didn't readjust his route after knowing that Zac started golems is a little bit interesting, because you can see now that he's behind on tempo for trying to get the rubber band camp up for his golems and get that first reduced XP clear on the golems out of the way.
But also, probably was very, very low on mana. You can see only getting a bit of it back here as that Void Seeker is going to spot Malrong out. So full information now gained by Gen G as well. But yeah, it's just full clears for both of the junglers. Going to find themselves with not a lot to do. So we'll see where they are going to go to attempt their first ganks. Is Fly underneath his turret here, struggling against Chongo.
Aftershock Lysandra. I mean, it doesn't get much more exciting than that.
I know. This is certainly top intensity level mid laning action. Coming out from Fly, we've got, in fact, double Aftershocks in Peanut, of course, wielding that one as well. None of these new Fandangle Hail of Blades junglers for us. No. But we got Press the Attack on Malrong. I guess that's somewhat exciting.
So one of the cool things here is that Trundle's going to be able to go from his Wraith camp pathing up towards the top left-hand side at the exact time that Zac would go to the Krugs, and then try to maybe look to do something top. So Malrong's route will work well against that. Now, if Aurelia can actually just play safe and not die, Scuttlecrab RNG did appear on the right-hand side. Victor and Tom have priority. So there's definitely a chance for Trundle to maybe try to invade Zac's blue side jungle, get camp timers on the Wolves and the Gromp, and then maybe fall back and get the Scuttle Crab. But instead, it looks like he's just going to path up to the top left-hand side. So a little bit questionable pathing given that Aurelia is pushed underneath her turret.
But so far, absolutely nothing has really gone on here. It's about 300 gold, but that's because of wave positioning. It hasn't quite been picked up yet. It will go back to relative normalcy. And we're just trading back damage here. And the mid laners Fly teleported back after picking up that Dark Seal.
And it looks like...
Ooh, sneaky. Gets out of the way of the vision, actually.
Man.
As Roach could be in trouble. Watch for the pillar. Does get him out of the way. Umbral Dash is going to be decent. Infernal Chain's not quite enough there as press the attack arms, and Malrong's just going to leave.
And not really so much of a pressure gank, as you can see that Roach isn't actually losing too many minions. And the problem with this is Peanut was already ahead. He was already up in XP. You can see Trundle still level 4. Zach's about to eat at camp. He's already been level 5. His golems are going to rubber band again. Malrong's falling really far behind in experience.
Yeah, and that's a real problem against the Zach that theoretically you should be abusing if you're in this particular jungle matchup. Maybe not necessarily for something like a Trundle.
About to be 6.
But yeah,
Trundle,
Peanut
Malrong
has had no
just
worries.
leveled up.
Yeah, it's troubling times. Grump, like you say, he's going to come back up again. And Peanut smites it out of the way. Will continue clearing as he's got a wolf camp up here as well. So 45 on the counter to the 38 that Malrong's got. And of course, you expect this because Trundle's not exactly the quickest clearer. He's healthy, but he ain't fast as Peanut.
Oh, man.
Classic slingshot comes in and he just says, I'll take this gank. Connects these two together. Is going to get the boot. Kidnap is well and truly off, though. And Peanut's just going to walk away.
That ultimate was just a peanut away from connecting. Oh. It was so tragic.
It was. Felt like it was a bit further away than that, to be honest. Didn't feel like the...
You know, the intention was good.
That's true, that's true. But
the intent was there.
Does manage to get a flash out of Kellen. So that's great news, meaning that the bottom lane can be a little bit more aggressive. And you know what? The idea is get the Kai'Sa to a point where she's got a couple of items and they can start fighting around her. And what's been happening? Kai'Sa's been free farming. That means great things for Gen G. Jin Air just haven't been able to make any sort of proactive play apart from this, as they at least leash the red buff.
Yeah, and Malrong's wasting more time because Braum already has priority to move up. He's able to collapse. Didn't matter that Aatrox was underneath the turret because Aurelia and Trundle cannot burst down the red fast enough, and Lissandra would just be able to fall backwards. So again, look at the camps for Peanut and look at Malrong and ask yourself, who's getting the better end of this? Wraiths and Krugs are in close proximity. Trundle, where's he going to go right now? He's going to path to the bottom right. He's going to eat the golems. He's constantly just behind on tempo this game.
And he's in a position where he definitely shouldn't be. That's not how it's supposed to go, guys. He's losing in a matchup where he should theoretically be winning. As oh, is that? Are we doing it on
level 7?
Are we doing it on Trundle?
Malrong gets it here.
All right, yeah, gets to level 6, so Subjugate is going to be in, meaning that at least he can get some of those resistances away from Peanut. As we move towards the later stages of the game, of course, right now only with the Barmy Cinder. But like you say, I mean, the Krug Camp's now gone, red buff's gone. He's slingshotting his way around this jungle very effectively as Peanut, and he hasn't needed to do anything else.
Yes, Tom Kenchol.
Yeah, just get back to lane. No worries there at all.
And the thing here, it looks like Zach was maybe thinking about going top lane. So the thing here is you ask yourself what both team compositions want to do. Lissandra has no problem waiting for her first item. Aatrox wants the first item. Kai'Sa wants to scale up a little bit. And on the flip side for Jin Air, they have champions that have monstrous spikes at 1 and 2 items. And then fortunately for them, later in the game, if Ruler goes down, all of Jin Air's champions in 2v2s and 3v3s fare so much better than Genji's.
Oh, yeah.
So all the eggs are in the Ruler basket the longer that this game goes. So even though Genji has more scaling, in theory, going into the team fights, it's not going to matter all that much. I mean, Aurelia and Akali, they do scale very well themselves.
Well, they're the ones with the one-item spikes as well. I mean, you're talking about scaling, but like I say, they're going to be getting online relatively quickly. We're looking for the Trinity Force to come out from Linderung before that happens, and then the Gunblade to be in there for Chongo. Chongo's going to have that one a little bit sooner because Linderung had to invest in the slightly more expensive Tiamat. But he's fine, just going to be farming things out. And it actually has a 12 CS advantage there. Towards the top side, Chongo as well is keeping up very, very nicely with Fly here. Mid lane, and that's about all we can really talk about. We can talk about items that have been purchased and objectives that are being looked at, but no actual fighting is going on as the Rift Herald's looking to be traded for this Cloud Drake. Cloud Drake goes down. Chongo just defending Linderung. Sorry, defending Malrung. And the Aurelia is going to have priority on the top side. So the trade is Drake for Rift Herald, and with it being a Cloud Drake, I have a feeling that Jin are pretty happy about getting Shelly out of that pit.
The Rift Herald is definitely way more valuable. The amount of time that it took Zach to eat that Cloud Drake, he could have cleared his Wolf and Gromp camp and gotten more gold out of it. And even though he has a Cloud Drake, his team composition is a slow-moving siege tank. Yeah. It's not designed to be fast. It doesn't need mobility or anything. So not the biggest dragon that you should have been investing time into, and it ends up costing them lost priority on the left side of the map, and Malrong was able to sneak that Rift Herald. That Rift Herald still has 3 minutes of plates left in it. If that can be converted into 4 or 5 plates, that was massive.
Yeah, exactly. I have a question. What do you think the G stands for in Gen G? Because after this early game, I'm starting to think maybe it means glacial. Finally, as I say it, Cast a Curse means that Linderung is going to get engaged on here as life comes on over. Flash comes in. He can't flash out of the way of the Frozen Tomb, as at least the damage reduction's decent, but it's not decent enough to keep him alive, and first blood goes to Peanut.
Looks like her body was thrown into that chasm.
Yeah, chasm.
Yeah. I don't even know what that was.
I like that we're talking about glaciers as well. Yeah. And then she just gets thrown into a glacier. Perfect.
Nice.
That's how I organized it.
That was great. Yeah. That was some Mortal Kombat right there.
Well, Life trying to get some vision here as Jin looking to try and fight back after losing their mid laner. Sorry, top laner. Look at Aurelia. Assume mid. Not the case, as Roach going to be able to grab some turret plates here. Actually getting 2 out of that one. Yeah. Evening up the farm as well. I mean, Linderung did have a lead up there. Goes back, gets himself the Phage and a dagger, but it's not going to help him.
Take a look here. Getting that control ward was Linderung, and then he tries to flash away, but it didn't matter as Fly was right there.
Yep.
And just get right on in there.
And Life fissured him, and then he died. And I like how we're talking about it standing for glacial, and we've got like the glacial fissure actually in this game on Gen G, and the Frozen Tomb. It's a very icy situation. It's very slow moving, but at the moment, it's actually working. And we sort of meme about it and we joke about it, but Gen G did perfect the let's get behind ruler in the late game when it was a strategy that worked. They just haven't been able to transition into a more fast-paced game as, Malrung has picked up the Skirmisher Extraordinaire in the Redemption as item number 1. Thank you very much, observers, for letting us know. See whether he can do his best Olaf impression on the Trundle instead.
I think that was the first time I ever saw the mouse cursor. I never remember seeing it before, and I gotta let out a complaint because they're not using the classic cursor.
Oh my goodness.
That was atrocious.
Maybe it's just because, we're still getting used to things, and often observers don't actually use the mouse really at all, so you only glance at it sometimes. Maybe they're as shocked as you are that we're not using the correct cursor, unfortunately. Those settings will be looked at after this. We apologize to anyone who...
His eyes were hurt.
Yeah, eyes were hurt by the lack of classic cursor. Well, Malrung towards the top side hasn't put Shelly down just yet. It is about to time out though, so he probably wants to get in amongst it as Peanut can slingshot his way out of here. But he's deciding not to because he's staying at the back of this pit. Gets into the Tri-Brush and knows that he's now invisible. So Chongo moves on in, and they know that there's 3 members up top.
What?
As Roach is trying to stop this, and he does. Just right in the face. I just don't know why you would ever go that close to someone that can knock you up with like 3 of his abilities that don't have a cooldown. Okay.
Malrung knows that Kellen's on his team, so he was taking a page out of Helen Keller's book instead. Briefly, as Roach was able to put an end to that Herald. That's really unfortunate. So this ends up meaning that actually the Cloud Drake...
Yeah, Cloud Drake, baby. That's
what I'm talking about.
Peanut's the next level right here.
They knew that was going to happen.
Yep. And he's still, been farming out really, really nicely. Cinderhulk and almost his Warmogs completed after that first blood went down. This Zach has just had the freest, easiest time in the early game ever.
Well,
And it's so weird because he's against Malrung. He has been getting so much done early in most of the other games that we've seen Jin Air in. It's the only good thing that we can talk about this team. And then he picks Trundle, builds a redemption, doesn't do anything.
I'm not entirely sure what the point of the Trundle pick really was, if not to just anticipate a Sejuani.
Not entirely sure, LS. I don't have the answers here.
You're right.
Just don't. I just knew that this series might take a little while to reach the end. And so far, it's been relatively slow. It's not exactly high-octane action. For this Jin Air versus Gen G matchup, Ruler and Life happily getting towards late game stages. And Root and Kellen, this is a sort of we're going to chill out and just get this lane phase over with type situation, but they're 20 CS behind. Maybe a little bit too much chilling out has happened.
Also important to note, it is an AP Victor.
Yeah.
So when we talk about trying to delete Ruler later, you wouldn't normally think that Victor can get into range, but I mean, if he casts a max range Death Ray, combines that with a Chaos Storm, makes that so much easier for Linderong and Chungo on that Aurelia and Akali to just delete Ruler.
And they do have, that is their one job this game as well, as you already illustrated. Roach will be able to do some damage in the late stages of the game. We know that Aatrox, if he can get in amongst a whole lot of bodies that are fighting, he can do a heck of a lot of work, but this does certainly feel like a get behind Ruler composition, and Jin Air will be able to then follow up to try and get the rest of the damage down. And yeah, the Death Rays are starting to hurt. The Qs are starting to hurt from Root.
Looks like he's going to be going Luden's next item on the Victor here.
I hope it's perfect Hex Core Luden's into Death Cap, just for the max damage.
Right, that's what you can end up doing now because the new runes allows you to get the 10% at level 18, and then you take Transcendence, which I'm assuming that he has.
I'd assume so too.
And that lets you hit 40% while maximizing damage.
Kidnap is going to get a flash out of Linderung here towards the top side of the map, but this should just be the turret going down as well. The Demolish proc very easily just eradicates that turret from the map, and Gen G take the first one of the game before 20 minutes, which I think sounds like a pretty good clip to me.
So we haven't even reached these teams' final form yet. We have yet to approach the mid lane tier 1 turrets, which are both very healthy, by the way.
Oh no. Let's not talk about the ARAM. Let's not talk about the ARAM. I don't want to. Let's talk about it when it's relevant, when it's happening. Before that, we can just ignore it, pretend it doesn't exist. Ruler and Life underneath their turret for the moment, but still that 20 CS lead is going to remain. Chongo struggling just a bit, but has his Gunblade done, so he's just going to heal off, using his Q over and over again, as you can see.
You know what this Lissandra skin reminds me of? Do you know Arceus? Is it Arceus? Arceus?
Arceus, yeah, from
Pokemon. Yeah, it kind of looks like that.
Oh, yeah. She's not quite that broken. From what I remember, even when you were playing in the Uber tier of competitive Pokemon, you couldn't play that particular one. Yeah. He was too good. As Chongo clearing out the mid lane again. Fly down to about half health though, so these trades are starting to be better and better for the Akali. And where is Peanut going to go? What is he going to do? At the moment, wandering into the mid lane is his decision. See whether Roach can have a better time up here towards the top side as well.
Another exciting Drake coming up in 2.5 minutes.
It's the Cloudy Drake.
Another Cloud Drake.
I wonder whether we're going to have the Overcast Drake combo of Ocean and Cloud. I like to just call it Overcast, because it just feels really boring. We've got a Mountain Drake though, so only one Drake opportunity. Might be the Earth, Wind, and Fire, if Infernal Drake is, in fact, our third one.
If it wasn't for Kaisa, they would just have no ability to do it. They could have 2 Mountain Drakes and still not take it. But fortunately, the Kaisa is there, so Mountain Drakes are certainly welcome.
Also, Ruler has his first evolution on the Q. Feeling good about that one as the Kaisa. So slowly but surely, getting ourselves to a point where Ruler can carry. Just needs the Rage Blade. And he can start getting into some of these mid-game fights. And Gen G have been just given it. And when it comes to, like, this is sort of what we expect from Jin Air. There are a team that sometimes just rolls over, but this level of being gifted an early game, we haven't seen it for quite some time, and especially not when Malrung joined the roster. Jin Air feels like they should have tools to stop this sort of thing from happening, but by picking the Trundle, Feels like a little bit of a concede.
Right now, the items are still waiting to be completed for some of the champions in the game. Ruler waiting on that Guinsu's Rage Blade. Oh, we have an aggressive play, maybe.
Teleport is going to come in here as
Okay.
Linderung looking to try and get on top of Ruler, but misses the Vanguard's edge. Only finds one of the stuns, but now Jin have got themselves grouped up, and Roach has the ultimate, and that is bad news, Bears. It seemed like it was going to be a good thing, but actually, it bit them. Actually goes back in to try and get the World Ender to get that extra health. As life goes into the stopwatch, they've gotten rid of Fly already. Double kill now as Chongo brings it all back around for Jin Air, and in the end, they actually trade up.
Yeah, and Jin Air is now likely going to be able to potentially get this, but Peanut still has ult.
Gonna get interrupted though by the pillar. That is one of the things that you can do as the Trundle. As the cup's gonna go back down into the ground.
Let's take another look at this. So Teleport came in from above. Linderung wasn't able to hit his ultimate there. Roach doing a lot of damage. They managed to pick up Linderung, but then you can see Chungo from the top. Atrox stepped right back into that Chaos Storm, trying to get max value out of his ultimate. And then Life cast the stopwatch, even though he's guaranteed to be dead. And Jin Air able to come out on top.
Yeah, it looked really good for Gen G until 3 people stood in the full duration of the Chaos Storm.
The problem is Gen G just has no damage until Ruler's really online. Extended, sustained fights, their champions don't do enough. There's so much healing inside of Chungo. Malrung heals a lot, so these sustained periodic damage dealers that don't have any form of penetration or whatnot. I mean, Atrox does, but he doesn't want to be standing on top of a Trundle and a Victor.
Nope. Well, I do want to draw your attention to a certain recent purchase from Ruler. He went back, turned that pickaxe into a Ginsu's Rage Blade, and has himself the stopwatch now. So feels like Ruler's pretty much online. Fly's going to be able to get this turret. Eventually, there we go. Didn't want to waste an auto attack on it. It's a limited resource, I'm pretty sure.
Wouldn't be a Jin Air versus Gen G match without Ocean being the...
Oh, it is! Oh, man, we get the Overcast Mountain. It's the Overcast Mountain. Nice, perfect. I don't even know why I asked the question of whether there was going to be an Infernal Drake this game. Of course there's not. Of course there's not. Oh, Kidnap could actually be coming down on the route, but doesn't find the Elastic Slingshot for the CC. Perfect Hex score means that he's going to be able to pull Peanut back in, but doesn't take too much damage. And I believe Peanut does have that Warmogs activated. And he does. So extra Kindle Jam there on top of it. So the Zac has a lot of health bar. That is definitely for sure.
And as we are approaching the 25-minute mark, normally that's when you start entertaining. Barons are going to start coming online and whatnot. Zac waiting to complete his 3rd core item. Fly's been sitting on that blasting wand for quite a while now.
Yeah, what is it actually going to turn into, I wonder? A few different options, but none really coming out as the optimal choices for next thing to build. Probably Morellonomicon to come in, but I find it strange that you build a blasting wand instead of the Oblivion Orb. At the beginning.
Looks like Knight's Vow will be the item of choice for Peanut. And I mean, that is what you need to do. It looks like Life is actually going for the Redemption.
Yeah, double Redemption.
Yeah.
In this game so far. Already been completed, of course. First item for Malrung, who doesn't actually have his Cinderhawk completed yet. It's just a little skirmisher saber now sitting in his back pocket. Decides that Cinderhawk unnecessary. And wants, I believe, to have the Righteous Glory online as quickly as he can. Well, to each their own. I'm not entirely sure whether that is the best choice because he struggles to clear the jungle that quickly anyway. One of the reasons why Olaf can build the Redemption is because the Undertow kills the camps so extraordinarily fast regardless. Trundle has the opposite problem where you'd most often rush a Tiamat before the cost got nerfed. So maybe it doesn't work quite as well as Olaf in the building Redemption department. But Gen G, they're looking for a fight as Life and Peanut hanging around this area, but Chongo's at the ready. We'll move out of that brush as Roach is making his rotation over, and we're very close to the mid lane. LS, and I'm getting scared.
Hold on.
I'm trying.
We're almost there.
I'm trying. Help me. Oh, here we are. We're clearing minions.
We're in the descent now.
That was the tiniest little death ray ever.
Here we go.
Stops it.
Yeah, clear out that vision.
Yeah. Okay.
No Baron plays. No waiting and brushes. That's not allowed. Get back to mid lane.
Oh, Roach was clearing out the top lane. That's not allowed in this game of ARAM that we've obviously set up. Jonga comes over. He's going to clear out that wave. And Ruler, oh, he actually got some pretty decent damage on this turret. This might be going down relatively soon, LS.
Well,
yeah, Peanut's going for the dive. Root's going to get popped back, but the Devourer is going to be there, and the Kidnap does make sure that they can't move up and save the tower, and Ruler makes short work of it. That ARAM did not last very long at all.
It's just getting started. Wait, Gen G's turret
all right,
is
we're going in a turret.
Now
That's
we're going
the
other way.
Oh no! Well, Peanut's going to get shot with a gun sword. He's not going to be too worried about it. He has the Warmogs, of course. It's like he's in the fountain before he's even got to the fountain. Goes back. We'll see what he's actually going to buy. Just finishes off the chain vest for now. 2 items in for Roach. 30% CDR already done for the Aatrox. Having a pretty great time. Honestly, just been gifted his way to the late game also. 700 gold bounty here for Ruler with 1 kill. Sounds about right. As he's ahead by 30 CS. Got a Hex Drinker now as well, wanting to avoid all the burst damage that can come in from Chongo and Root. I like that a lot, actually.
Ocean's up in 14 seconds.
Oh, there we go. Let's
get
a fight around the
teams
Ocean
to
Drake.
just ignore it.
Well, that's not what's going to happen. This is an objective that they're going to beeline for and lock down as quickly as possible, which is exactly what has happened. Fly and Ruler should make short work of it, though, so that's absolutely fine. That's going to be 4 Drakes over to Gen G.
Come on. Ocean.
Powering up.
Ocean. Oh!
Wait, what was it?
Oh, it was a mountain.
Oh my goodness. I thought you were getting excited because somehow we've got all 4 of the Drakes in the game, even though that's just not how it works. It's like, wow, something went wrong in the code. We needed to make this game as exciting somehow. We put an Infernal Drake, as well as the other 3. Oh, okay, 3,500 gold is going to be the lead here for Gen G just passively. Honestly, like there's been some battling, a little bit of a skirmish on the bottom side of the map, and Linderon getting caught out towards the top. But otherwise, it's been very, very slow so far in this one. Cresting about 30 minutes in. Good vision now available for Jinner, at least around their mid lane. It's not feeling as relevant now that the inner turret is the last one before the inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, and I mean, I absolutely love Ruler's build. He goes Maw of Malmortius. The other option would be something like Wit's End or Scimitar. Yeah. And he has the Stopwatch, which is going to go into Guardian Angel. He understands, hey, I just have to survive Chungo and Root's burst from magic, and then use the Stopwatch, maybe survive against Aurelia. And now Braum should be looking to go Solari's Locket. Peanut's going to have the Knight's Vow. Everything is about protecting Ruler, sort of like a Protect the Kog'Maw comp.
Yeah, which is exactly what Gen G likes to do. Void Seeker lands in the mid lane onto Root. Malrong's going to get jumped on here. Devour comes down from Kellen, still attached to Stretch Armstrong over here, but is able to escape.
One of the things they can do is that with that Mountain Drake and the Kaisa having 3 items, they can just start the Baron and say, hey, listen, Jennair, you have to come to us. Linderong, we're going to like your teleport. And then after that, they don't have to finish it, but it looks like they're going for it. Wow, Jennair Green Rings.
That's a really late teleport, but it looks like the turn is going to come in. Ruler trying to get some damage down onto Malrong is going to be able to bring him down to about half health. But it's Chongo right in the backline, underneath his Shroud, getting some relevant damage down onto the backline. Roach in trouble, but Worldender is there as Ruler jumps on forward, takes down the Catfish first. It's a double kill coming in for Fly as the damage is there finally for Gen G. Ruler's timing is just so good with the Killer Instinct, and Gen G will move back to the Baron after the ace.
Yeah, and this is fantastic. Aatrox, I love what Roach just did. He moved away from the Baron immediately, said, hey, we have a Mountain Drake, we have a Kaisa, you don't need me, let me go somewhere else, maximize usage of my time. He might even be able to actually get that top tier 2. That was a very big minion wave. I think that's what he's going to be able to do. Yeah. I love when I see this. I hate seeing players just be like, oh, you know what? Let's just overkill the Baron for no reason and waste our minions in the side lanes. Take another look at this fight.
He's very easily able to grab that turret there as well. It's like you say, Peanut dives forward, misses the stretching strike, but it's all about where Ruler is and all about what Roach can get done.
Look at
Infernal
Ruler
Chains
on the
just set
right-hand
it up,
side.
yeah.
And Linderong, he just can't get into the fight. I mean, he ends up killing Peanut. Doesn't matter. Peanut had passive. Linderong is forgetting about that. And even though he comes over the edge, he manages to get onto Fly. It doesn't matter because Ruler's just too massive.
He's huge. And is able to get all of the DPS down. 1,000 gold bounty now, if you don't mind. 3, 0, and 2. Now building towards his Hurricane because he can't be bothered finishing something like a GA at this point. That's too passive. He wants more attack speed so he can shred people down faster. And I do not blame him. Currently 50 CS ahead as well. I mean, 60, sorry. Just massive. And although Root was able to do a lot of damage in that fight, the damage was against Roach through a Sterix proc. It was all of Peanut's gigantic health bar. I feel like these numbers are going to be really silly on the side of Jin Air as far as damage is concerned because the health bars are just bigger on Gen G. They can take more damage.
Right. And at this point, it's going to be very difficult for Jin Air Green Wings to actually resist any of this Baron push that comes out. Ruler is so big. His stopwatch is still available, too.
Yep. And this tower is not available, by the way. That was taken down in an instant. Peanut waiting for that stretching strike to come back off cooldown. Sorry, the elastic slingshot. Trying to get another fight started. And I feel like Peanut can just start a fight whenever he wants to. He's given so much leeway with how this game has gone. Not able to clear out that ward just yet. Gen G just trying to break open this base. Roach splitting on the bottom side while they wait for the minion wave in mid. Pretty standard textbook stuff here from Gen G, but they've been allowed to do it this entire game. The inaction of Jin Air has really bit them to start this series off. Inhibitor going to go down, and Jin Air just watching.
And it does look like they're just going to rotate up into top lane. A little bit surprised that they didn't just ignore top and move down into bottom to get the inhibitor, fall back, get the Mountain Drake, and just play it super safe. That's truthfully what I would expect. Yeah, exactly.
Yep. But they are going to be able to take this one down very swiftly.
They're going to get it anyway.
Ruler's going to dive on Root. The Devourer is going to be there in time. So Ruler just checking in, but now Ultimate no longer available. Redemption going to come in to try and heal Root back up, but he's got a Fountain there, so may not have been that necessary, as finally all the inhibitors have been taken down. Gen G just have Nexus turrets to deal with, and are Jin Air actually going to start a fight? Vanguard's Edge says yes as they dive into the backline, but Chongo just dies as an afterthought in the Shroud. Linderong's down to the stopwatch, but that should be the end of him, as it should be a triple kill coming in. No, it's not, as Roach is going to be able to grab that one, but otherwise, it's all about the Ruler damage, and this was all about Gen G this game.
Yeah, and that game just turned so explosive, but we have to highlight some of the major issues going on. Malrong did absolutely nothing the entire early game, and Peanut was getting so far ahead in XP, and he was messing up some ganks. If those ganks went better for him, the game would have been completely even more lopsided.
Yeah.
And they could just never, no one was really accruing any advantages, but that was an advantage in and of itself for Gen G, because they were able to get to the point of the game where Ruler was able to come online before Akali and Aurelia can just say, hey, we're going to delete you. And then that team fight at Baron, that was it. That was the end of the game.
Yeah, but it just felt like Jin Air weren't actually doing anything. It felt like they were half in this game, to be perfectly honest.
You're on autopilot, would you say?
They were just giving Gen G anything that they wanted to take, and I don't know what their goal was. I don't know what their aim was, because obviously they just didn't really understand. They were just in the game, they were there, they were present, but it's like they were giving up from almost the very beginning, and it's so night and day seeing a Jin Air game where Malrong is on this passenger champion at the beginning of the game in comparison to watching his Xin Zhao, which has been very, very impressive, even though they've lost every single game. Oh man, I really hope there are some changes coming in for Jin Air. I think that there will be some swaps, whether they're going to swap out the whole bottom lane or whether they're just going to swap Chongo out for Grace to move in, maybe add a little bit more of that veteran status into that mid lane. But otherwise, I just think that there's almost too many problems for them to fix in one go.
Completely agree. And I mean, Ruler, he lived up to the hype that game.
He did.
For sure. He did a lot of damage. Did what was necessary. I think his itemization was great as well.
Yeah, the ball was really smart.
People dropped the ball on that.
Yeah.
So, nice to see that didn't happen.
He didn't, but I also felt like he wasn't necessarily tested this game. A lot of what we saw in the Afrika series was Ruler having to use Killer Instinct at the perfect time in order to avoid these crazy fights that Afrika were throwing at Gen G. none of those situations were actually happening here this time. There weren't crazy fights thrown at anyone. It was, did Peanut charge up his elastic slingshot and did it land or didn't it? And he can just rinse and repeat.
Yep.
Like, he messed up a lot of things, but it didn't actually matter. And also, that Victor did a hell of a lot of damage, but it also didn't matter.
Yeah, the Victor damage is insane. I mean, he was the one poking. He's getting the Chaos Storm value off in fights.
Yeah.
A lot of the members are clumped up. Ruler dealing second on his team. I mean, Lissandra was in the nitty-gritty of those fights, and her passive, her AoE, damage was
Ruler
always
also
there.
didn't start shooting people until the game was basically
Right.
over. There was that.
To the Baron fight.
Yeah, the Baron fight happened, and that was where most of it really happened. He wasn't, I don't think, throwing out all of that much damage in the laning phase, really, because that was what felt like a bit of a wash.
Right.
So Jin Air Green Wings do fail to take down Gen G in our first game of the night, but it's a best of 3. We'll see whether Jin Air can fight back and get their first win in LCK 2019. After the break, we'll find out.